Hey everyone, welcome to your favorite manifestation podcast, The Assumption Effect, with your host, Flossie, and myself, Nikki. So today we're going to talk about a topic that we've been asked about a lot since our last video, acting as if, and what it means to act as if and live in the end.
Did you want to read the comment that you got
Yeah, I could.
or summarize it?
We could discuss it, yeah. I actually, before I read it, I do want to say that I'm going to bring up a few things because I've actually seen this in my 3D a couple times over the past 2 months. So there's a lot to talk about here, a lot to unpack. She said, what are healthy ways to act as if for a relationship?
So, I mean, to me, healthy ways to act as if is you got to understand what acting as if is in the first place. I think in the manifestation community, and there's a bunch of topics that Nikki and I have talked about, and I'm pretty sure Nikki would agree to me on with me on some of it at least. A lot of people take what is said literally. They actually take the words being used as meaning to like their literal actual meaning. Now, you have to keep in mind that acting as if, I mean, why would you want to act? Acting is something that's temporary and is a performance, right? I mean, that's what it is like you're playing a character role when you are acting. But acting as if is meant to mean, is the way I see it anyway, that you're thinking as if that you're living in the end. So I don't think that means that you literally act as though you have what you want. As far as, if you're manifesting money, you're not going to go out and buy a Lamborghini if you have $5. You're not going
Right,
to act as if you're rich.
right. And Flossie and I were just discussing this the other day. So I've expanded stuff on my business and I've been, taking on sales reps throughout the world right now. Like it's been popping. But when I first started doing that, I was involved with the company, and I'm not going to say names or anything, but you know, they had like direct sales representatives, and I said, screw this. In the end, I said, screw this, and I just went direct through a factory and had my own product manufactured. But it was direct sales, not MLM, but close, right? So I wanted to get out of it pretty quickly. But I was talking to this gal, and I asked her, I said, well, what how many people have you like sold this quote unquote business in a box to model? Because I don't like that anyway. But she said nobody. And I said, well, you told me you make $50,000 a month. You told me that your husband's retired. You told me that, you bought this, we're buying things and able to be a stay-at-home mom and you're retired and blah, 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 blah. Now, a part of their little group, I almost want to say cult, because and I'll get more in detail with that. It made me really sad for her. My heart hurt. They teach a form of manifesting and they hide behind the Christian cloak, which I am Christian, but I hate when people hide behind religion, like to make it look like a good thing when it's not, when they're doing something wrong. And she said, I'm just acting as if. That's not acting as if. Acting as if is not quitting your job, not investing hundreds or thousands of dollars into something you can't afford. Acting as if isn't fake it until you make it. That's not what that is. Internally, you're going to build the confidence of the person that has the money. You're going to build the confidence of the person that has the job. You're going to build the confidence of the person that has the business. You're going to wear that confidence. And that's how it's going to manifest, is through your subconscious, not by lying to people in the 3D, not by putting on a persona, not by putting yourself in debt, because all that's going to create is more fear and resistance as, there's a delay in manifesting. So if you've gone, let's just say a month, yes, you can manifest faster than that. Nobody come at me. You know what I mean? I'm just speaking for real here. Now, say that was you acting as if. You start telling everybody you're making 50 G's a month. You've retired. You're living this dream life. You're doing everything you want to be doing. And then your mortgage is due. But you have no income. You've just been acting as if. Now you're on food stamps. Now you're on disability or whatever, whatever assistance they have in different states. I don't know. But now you're doing all this and you're lying to people. You're putting yourself in debt. You're about to file bankruptcy. Acting as if is all internal. You keep living your life in the 3D. And I use this analogy all the fucking time. And I'll let you talk, Flossie. I'm sorry. This is just really,
No worries.
this really upset me because it really hurt my heart for her because she was being led astray in the wrong way. And it was being cloaked with a religion. And it just, that's why people turn away from religion. They don't find the true core of their spirituality or their belief system. And they get suckered into some weird doctrine or rule or whatever. Anyway. Oh, I'm so mad about it still. I feel so
Well,
bad for her.
I mean, when you were telling me about it, though, just to point out very briefly, they said that, like, well, we're manifesting it. We're manifesting it.
Right.
We're acting as if. And I'm like, when Nikki was telling me all this bullshit that these people were saying, I was like, do they even know what manifestation is? They clearly don't, because any good coach is not going to say to lie to people.
Right.
If you're in manifesting an SP, for example, you're not, and you guys are no contact, you're not going to run around town handing out wedding invitations. You're not going to run around town telling everybody that you're engaged or about to get married. You're not going to put that on your social media. Why? Because people would think you're delusional.
They'll think you're fucking crazy. They'll put you in the funny farm.
So you have to keep in mind, like, when someone is acting as if, as I mentioned earlier, like, it's a performance, it's temporary. But what is an actor also doing is they are thinking as though they are that character. It boils down to thinking as if. So when you're manifesting a specific person and you're acting as if, you're going to be thinking as if you have that relationship in your mind. That is the role you're playing. You already have it. You're not just publicly doing that out in the 3D, though, because we can't. Because people will think that we're crazy. Now, I mean, hey, if somebody wants to set some extra plates at dinner, like we talked about in the last video, okie dokie, then be my guest if you want to waste making food or setting a plate. I think that for me, that would create resistance because I'd be like, nobody's touching this plate. I don't think that I would feel very good about it. But the healthy way to act as if you're manifesting a specific person, is to literally embody that role in your mind. And embody is just a fancy word for think as if you have what you want. Like, all these coaches are pulling these either weird words from somewhere and trying to make it seem like something that it's not, or they're taking a literal interpretation of what Neville or other coaches have said and confusing everybody. We don't act as if. We don't act as if. If that person who was acting as if, that was talking to Nikki, went and completed a home loan application, they're not going to say that they made 50 G's a month. Why? Because they can't. That would be considered fraudulent.
Right. An analogy I use a lot when I'm talking to clients, and I've used it in my videos, and I've done that. Now, mind you, if you've been to my YouTube channel, I took everything down except my subliminals. That's because I'm working on something. Anyway, the analogy I use is if I cut my hand, if I'm chopping vegetables and I cut my finger, knock on wood, that's not going to happen because every time I say it, it fucking does. But I'm not going to sit there and watch it bleed and say, I'm healed, everything's fine as I bleed out. I'm going to put a Band-Aid on that bitch. I'm going to go get stitches if I need to get stitches. You take immediate action in the 3D for 3D issues. For 3D problems, 3D life, you have to take 3D solutions. That's just what it is. If you're new here, the 3D is your immediate reality. It's the life you're living right now. Manifestation is internal. That is what you are projecting so that it shows up in your 3D reality. It is not our business to know the where, when, what, how, who. It just shows up. You just trust. You just believe. You just know. You're changing that internal inner voice of yours, making your dominant thoughts and assumptions in line with your manifestation so that it shows up in your 3D. You are not forcing anything. And I think acting as if, when people take it literally and they physically go around wearing an engagement ring and telling people they're engaged, not only does that create more resistance within you, there's also a level of guilt when we lie to people, whether you're aware of it or not. That guilt is going to cause resistance. You're going to start questioning things. It's going to make things take longer, if not completely backslide. You're going to completely backslide. You're going to create new assumptions and belief based on how other people are looking at you if they find out that you're lying or they think you're crazy. There's a number of different things that could happen. So the other part of this video is like, when do you take action? You have to take action at some, I mean, you don't have to take action, but like in your life, you're going to take action every day. You got to get out of bed and brush your hair and brush your teeth and go to work or whatever it is that you're doing. But like, as far as your manifestation goes, if you have, say you want to invest in a business and you have a couple bucks to invest in the business, invest in the business. But don't do it if it's going to bankrupt you. Don't do it if it's going to hurt you. Right? If you want to go on a date, go on a date. If you feel internally like that makes you feel wrong because you're manifesting, then don't go on the date. That's all internal. If you have inspired action, I'm gonna let Flossie take that over. Inspired action is a whole different story.
So inspired action, whenever we talk about that, because a lot of people are confused, do you have to take action to get what you want? No. What you want could literally just...
Flossie froze.
We've always taken some sort of physical or mental action, and even the act of affirming is technically an action.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see me okay?
Yeah, you froze for a minute, but you're fine. We got you.
So, even affirming is it could be argued that it's an action. Inspired action often feels like you feel drawn to do something, or it's something that pops in your head, or at least that's how it's been for myself. And, like I mentioned a second ago, how we're beings of action. Even if so let's say you wanted to be a lottery winner. I think a lot of people have the assumption that you need to have a ticket, to be able to turn in. Could that ticket show up at your door? Yes. But you're still going to take an action to what? Turn it in.
Right.
So we do take action. Inspired action, like I said, feels like you're just moved to do it. Like a long time ago, when I manifested running into my OGSP at the store, and we ended up talking for almost an hour. Now, while I was on my way to the store, I felt this strong pull to like go get deer feed, because I live backing to green space. Sometimes I get deer feed, and I thought, oh, I should get deer feed. And the pull was so strong that I had to literally turn around, stop at the store, and get it. So, I stop at the store, I'm talking to people, blah, blah, blah. I get to the grocery store, get out of the car, and instead of going the direction that I had planned to go, I said, oh, I'll be over there in a few minutes or whatever. And I went straight ahead, which was not my typical routine at that time. And I ran right into SP, who was just grabbing a couple of things. Now, if I didn't stop at the feed store, and if I hadn't turned a different way in the store when I got there to the actual store itself, I wouldn't have seen him, and we wouldn't have talked for almost an hour. And so you're going to be moved however you need to be moved in order to get your manifestation. And I just felt like this strong pull. It's like hard to explain. Sometimes, you can think about it for a few moments. Like, when have you been really inspired to do something to where you felt like, I have to do this, not questioning it, not going back and forth with it. It's like, I need to do this. Or if it's something that pops in your head.
Right. And, more oftentimes than not, when it involves another person or a job or something like that, it's not even going to feel that inspired action. It's not even going to feel like it's a pull towards that. Like, Flossie had no idea why she felt like she had to go there. And when inspired action has happened to me, like, I felt like it wasn't even cold out. Like, this was years ago, but was going to a show, a concert, and it was warm out. It was like 80 degrees. But for some reason, I'm like, I got to go back home and get a hoodie. I got to go back home and get a hoodie. So, I'm almost at the highway, and we turn around. So I'd go back home and get a hoodie. And I was really anxious too. And that wasn't typical of me then. And I wasn't sure why. So I grabbed the hoodie. It's 80 degrees. They're looking at me like my friends are like, why are you getting a hoodie? It's 80 degrees. Well, we get back to where we were at to get on the highway, and a wreck happened. Like, maybe 2 minutes after we had turned around. So we're looking up, and all the traffic stopped, and there was a huge wreck. Had we have gotten on the highway, we could have been in that wreck. So do I think that was inspired action as part of my self-concept of being healthy, safe, secure. Yes, I do. Um, did it click with me that that's why I need to turn around and go home because something bad might have happened? No. Like inspired action is just so random. I feel like we're laying this one out a little bit longer, and that's okay because we really want you guys to understand that it's all internal. You may feel pulled, and if you don't take action with inspired action, it doesn't mean something bad's going to happen to you or that you're going to miss out on your manifestation because it's going to reroute in another direction to bring it to you anyway. So there's nothing you can do wrong. And even if you have acted as if, because we've had people come to us that have done the whole Delulu thing with the wedding invites and stuff. And I'm not laughing at them. It's just like I wish they would have came to us first, but you can come back from it. You can. So what we want you to do is really just focus internally. Focus on that. I know you don't have to have self-concept, but it's good. Focus on your manifestations. Focus on yourself. Focus on living your life, and everything will work out for you.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, try not to create additional resistance for yourself. If you're running around town telling people things that aren't true, or, as we've known clients to even be in the process of buying a house while they're acting as if, like, don't do any of those things. You're going to create resistance on yourself. It's just going to make your journey, why cause yourself your own unintentional delay? Got to remember your 3D reality is comprised of your dominant thoughts and assumptions on that topic. It is not being delusional to tell yourself that you have what you want and to affirm, that you're in a perfect relationship or that you're wealthy or you have this amazing job or your health, perfect health, because you know that you're doing the mental conditioning in order to have the 3D reality conform, because you have to have, your dominant thoughts change so it can go to the subconscious to manifest. And, whatever dominant thought that you have on the topic is the one that's going to win. So it's not delusional to be affirming for SP. You're not lying to yourself when you do that. It's just don't go around telling others that you have it. Don't go around taking actions that you would do if you had it, because that's literally craziness, silliness, or it's gonna, could potentially harm you in some way. Like Nikki was saying, the example of someone going out and quitting their job and spending money that they don't have.
Yeah, and I don't know her entire story. It just, of course I laid it down that that's not what acting as if is.
But there was a whole group of them, though, that were acting as if. And I mean, hey, if you're in a group chat with friends that manifest and you're talking as if you're acting as if from the perspective of like, oh, SP and I had an amazing date today and we did this and we did that. And all of you know that all of you are acting as if, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But when you have people, I wouldn't do that with strangers who, I wouldn't be telling strangers that I'm rich if I don't have that money.
Public, or even
potential clients, customers, business partners, right. Things like that.
I wouldn't even imply that as a mystery, like, like posting pictures of checks like they do and things like that. Like, oh, look at all this money I have. And I'm not saying it's trashy. I'd manifest. Look, guys, you can do what you want. Maybe some of you are part of those kind of groups and stuff. Whatever. Live your life. If it works for you to scam and lie to people, then do it. But Flossie and I both have run very successful businesses. We're running successful businesses aside from mindset coaching, aside from manifestation, and we have manifested it all. The only time I ever do something else is to add to my current success because I constantly build on it. And that's me. If you guys haven't noticed, I change my mind every 5 minutes and I add stuff all the time because I love creating. I love doing something new. I love the next best thing if I can find it and it actually works. So that's the only reason I even met these people, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. And I went a whole different route, went to a factory manufacturer, straight to the manufacturer, and said, screw this crap.
Well, yeah, I mean, even when you called them out on it, they didn't see that there was anything wrong with it, and that's part of the problem. Because they don't understand manifesting and what they're doing and that they're actually deceiving, and that's not cool. When you're manifesting,
but when
don't
I'm saying,
put out
like,
to deceive people.
if somebody knocks things like that, they automatically assume it's jealousy or fear, or they're trying to tell me I had resistance. No, ma'am. That's not limiting beliefs or resistance. I'm successful without you. I'm successful without this. Maybe I had finances tied up in my investments. Doesn't make me unwealthy. Just makes me smart. Anyway, I could go on and on and on about it.
Well,
It really,
I'm sure that we
it,
could.
it didn't tick me off. I mean, it did tick me off, but I actually felt bad for the people that got caught up in it more than I did anything else about it. Because I care about people in general, and I feel like that's wrong. And because I teach manifestation, I teach mindset. I guess for a reason. Maybe I was meant to like, maybe it was part of something I needed to, because it changed my mind on how I want to do my videos moving forward. Because I'm like, you know what? I'm dealing with I get so swept up into I'm dealing with manifestors every day, but you don't think about the real people that are getting swept up into the wrong stuff every day. You
Well,
know
that's
what I
one of the reasons why I made on the Your Thoughts Create channel, like the videos that have called out like coaches or, misconceptions about manifesting where coaches are telling people ridiculous things. Because when someone's new to manifesting and they don't fully understand how it works and they have someone in a position of trust telling them something, that's what they believe that it is, and that's what they believe to be true. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people in that group that you were in didn't fully understand that people were acting as if. They
No.
probably thought that that was, you know, the truth. And at this point right now in the 3D, it's not. I mean, perhaps they'll manifest it, but so far they haven't.
Yeah, it's to me, it could be a limiting belief. Whatever. It's easier to manifest internally. That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm gonna shut up about it now.
Well, that is how we manifest.
Right. All right, guys, we will see you on the next podcast. Bye.